Okay, so welcome everyone, or I should say thank you for having me. Okay, so why are you here tonight? I generally ask you, like, why? Why would you come to something like this? Actually, no, I usually say one of two things. I'll say, why are you here? Or, I don't care about your story. So I'm going to ask you the first thing. So why are you here? Why would you come to something like this? Yeah.
Curiosity.
Aha. Okay, so curiosity. So one word. Why are you here?
Relaxation.
Relaxation. Cool. Okay, quiet yourself. Yeah. So quiet. Yeah, cool.
Andy Mack.
Yeah, because I paid you, right? Yeah. Okay, yes. Good. The plant in the corner there. We're going to do a miracle healing with him later, but that's... All right, man. So why are you here?
Find out about the Dissolvetherapy.
Okay, cool.
Happiness, right?
Yeah.
No suffering.
Uh-huh. Cool. I know why you're here. I paid you as well, so that's cool. Kidnapped. Fully. It's true. We've been dragging him around for 2 days now. He doesn't have a bike, so well, he does, but yeah. All right, man.
New experience.
Nice. And I know you're paid as well, so that's okay. All right, so, generally most people say the same sort of thing, like it's all to do with, peace or happiness or relaxation or, finding quiet. No one generally says the opposite. They don't usually say because I want to be, uptight or I want to be angry or I want to be confused. It's always the same sort of thing, right? And so we always give it, we give it a name, right? This feeling. But generally it's just always a feeling, right? And some people call it peace, some people call it relaxation, some people call it happiness, some people call it being balanced, some people call it, not having thoughts racing through your head, right? But it's always just, it's a feeling, actually. Okay. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to just work on a feeling. We're not going to try and use any words, really, to define what it is, because the words tend to lead us away from actually what it is. Okay, so if you can imagine, I'm just going to talk a little bit first, then we're going to do a little meditation, all right, and then we're going to talk a little bit more afterwards. So bear with me. So if you, for instance, if you think about when you're feeling really good, say it's a Sunday afternoon, and tomorrow's a public holiday, and so you've got nothing on, right? And there's this feeling of sort of contentment that comes into the mind. You might have even had a glass of wine. You've got no work tomorrow, and so you have this feeling of peace, right? And so let's call that zero, all right? Now this feeling of contentment, or this feeling of, this zero feeling, is what we're after, and we call it peace, we call it relaxation, we call it calm. And then this feeling comes in. Everything could be completely cool, but then this feeling of tension comes in, right? And we start moving away from this feeling of contentment. So we'll call that number one, right? So we go 0, 1. And then we start labeling it. So we go, okay, well, this is that anxiety. I'm feeling anxious again, right? 2. And then we start talking to our friends about it. 3, and then we start Googling it, 4, and then we go to a doctor about it, 5, and then he gives us some pills, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we keep moving away from this 0, right? So it's almost like simple mathematics, right? So we want 0, but we keep on adding stuff, okay? So what I want you to do is I just want you to hold your hand out for me. And I want you to squeeze the hell out of it. So squeeze it. So just close your eyes, actually, so you can really zoom in on the feeling, because it is a feeling that I want you to focus on. So if you squeeze the hell out of your hand for me. at least 5% harder. Okay, 16% harder. So you're almost piercing your skin. Harder, harder, harder. Now, I want you to feel this release. When I tell you to let go in about 5 seconds, all right? So, and it's going to spread through your arm, and it's going to feel really nice, of course. So, on the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Now that feeling, you don't have to philosophize about it. You don't have to understand the dynamics of the universe. You don't have to understand quantum physics or anything of that nature, right? When you let go, it feels nice. Similarly, when you go to the toilet, you do a piss and it feels nice. Every single time. Okay? The interesting thing is, and if we can, it's almost like we're reverse engineering, right? So when you go to the toilet, the bladder releases. Now the bladder's not spiritual, right? Actually, it's part of the nether regions. So like we don't even talk about that stuff because it's not spiritual, right? However, when we release the bladder, and the bladder's a bit of flesh about this big, we release the bladder, and we could have had the worst day, the worst morning. We could have lost the phone, we could have lost the wallet, we could have lost the girlfriend or the boyfriend, dented the car, a bird could have crapped on our shoulder. And yet, when we're in the toilet, this happens to the mind. And there's peace for maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds, right? Until everything starts coming back in. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because just that release of the body clears the mind. So this is like a pointer for us. It's like a clue. So that means that if we can find release in the body, it's almost like, because when people say, I saw something on Facebook the other day, it was something like, never in the history of being calm has telling someone to be calm ever made anyone calmer. Something like this. You know, so telling someone to relax, just relax, it doesn't actually work a lot of the time, right? Because it's a concept. So, hello, come on in. That's okay. So we're just talking about some stuff, talking about relaxation, and, you know, it's all very interesting. Everyone's riveted. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is like the coolest thing I've ever heard. It's profound. So what we're talking about is, we're talking about how to go from this feeling in the heart to this feeling in the heart. Because this feeling in the heart is basically what we call anxiety, we call this fear, we call this depression, sadness. Like, pick any term that you'd go to a friend or a doctor to talk about. That's what we call it. It's just this feeling, right? And then the opposite is also true, right? So any of the good feelings that we feel, like, you know, what a few people here have expressed what they want from tonight, for instance. They want peace, they want happiness, they want these good feelings. It's always an open feeling, right? So it's really very, very simple. And if we can simplify it, if we can keep it to this, it's either open or closed. This is actually the key. So I was just talking about pissing. So you come in at a really interesting stage. And when you go to the toilet, and it doesn't matter how many times you've been to the toilet, you could have gone 5 times today, at the moment of release, everything is okay in your world. It's like, right? And never have you ever gone to the toilet and you've done this. Really? Is that, maybe you have, I don't know. So, personally, me, I've never done that, all right? Maybe not yet. Maybe when I'm a bit older, perhaps, all right? When the prostate problems kick in, perhaps. Okay, so from my own experience so far, I've never gone to the toilet and, had this feeling of like, really? Was that it? God. It's always been, a feeling of release. So we have this, it's like finding a thread in a jumper and pulling it, right? Or it's like finding, when you have some sticky tape, it's like finding the corner of the sticky tape. Once you find the corner of the sticky tape, you're off. You're off. But until you find that, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. What the hell is this thing? It's this invisible thing that means so much to me right now. But until you find the corner, it's sort of impossible. And so when people think of relaxing when we're really stressed out, and they're trying to use philosophy and reasoning, it's like trying to find the corner of the sticky tape, right? So what I do is I relax a little part of my body, okay? And it's not my bladder, right? Because that can be messy, all right? So sometimes it is, but I'm talking about something that you can find continuously. So, for instance, I'm sitting here with a camera on me right now, and I washed my hair today, and now I've got fluffy hair, and it's ridiculous. And so now I sort of feel a little bit, self-conscious about that. And I didn't wear pants today either. I wore shorts, so I'm feeling possibly a little self-conscious about that as well. And I've got a microphone on me, and so all of these things are stacking up, and it's certainly creating tension now that I'm talking about it. And this is what we do, though. We talk about our bullshit. We talk about the problems to try and get rid of them. But actually, just talking about it now, it's actually made me feel a little bit tense. It's weird, isn't it? So, generally what I tell people to do is just shut up. Stop talking about your bullshit, because all it's doing is getting away from this 0 point. We're talking about the 0 being where we want to be, okay? And we keep on moving away from it. So we have this 0 point. This is 0, and then we feel this tension coming in. So now I'm starting to talk about why I should be feeling a little uncomfortable. Okay? And it's making my world go from being open to being closed. Okay? And I could call that now anxiety. Okay, so now I label it, and now it's number 2. Okay, now I can start using reasoning and etc., etc. I can search for my Valium and try and get back to 0, but I'm just perpetuating this problem. So instead what I do is I find the opposite of tension. The opposite of tension is release and openness. How do I find that? I do it. So I do this. I relax my tongue. And even though it's just 1% of my whole sort of, being that I'm relaxing, or maybe 2% or 3%, I don't know the exact figure, but it's only a small part of my being that I'm relaxing. So I developed this thing called sincerity, right? Sincerity in the practice. And what I mean by that is I developed this, in Pali, it's called mudita. Okay, it means appreciative joy. Now, if I can start to develop this sincerity, this mudita, this appreciative joy, on just the littlest bit of release, what happens is it's like it amplifies the effect. Okay, so what I do is I start to feel a little bit anxious now. Oh shit, there's all these people here, microphone, etc., shorts, fluffy hair. Terrible. Okay? So what do? I soften my tongue. And I focus on it. I don't just go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I go, that actually felt good. I zoom in on it and I go, that felt good. And I enjoy it. And I smile. And then what happens in my mind is that because I can only actually focus on one thing at a time, there's no such thing as multitasking. We do this. The mind goes, if we're doing a number of things at once, it goes between the two, right? So because I can only really focus on one thing at a time, I focus 100% on that good feeling of releasing my tongue. So if you do it right now, if you soften your tongue and let it soften all the way down your throat, so you're softening your throat as well, and allow it to come down into the chest and feel that. And you notice that it does feel just a little bit nicer. And so you smile to yourself. Not because you're trying to lie to yourself that things are good, or that you're trying to be a positive thinker. It's because you're being sincere. You're being sincere in the fact that 1% of release is better than 100% of not release. So that's sincerity. It's not bullshit. Yet it is true. It's like when you've got a shoe on that's too tight. So you've got your shoe on that's too tight, and all you need to do is you just need to undo just that top lace, just a little bit. You don't need to take the whole shoe off for release or to feel better. You just take that little bit of tension out of the top shoelace, and it feels good, right? And so it's the same thing, right? You pay it the attention that it deserves. So, enough talk, and let's just try it, okay? So, just closing your eyes, and because it's all experiential, right? Because words are just, they point us to something, but really we have to feel it, and we have to get used to feeling it, so it becomes a habit. So let's try and make this habit of finding release, finding openness instead of finding or staying on tension, staying in tension. So I just want you to put your hands, if you like, on your tummy. And all we're going to do is just allow the tummy to soften. So softening the tummy and softening the hands. So it's almost like your hands and your tummy are becoming one. They're merging into one another. So instead of your chest moving, your hands should be moving. So really consciously allow the hands to be moved by the tummy. So as you breathe, I want your tummy to move rather than your chest. We generally breathe with our chests, so it's not ideal. We want to breathe with our tummies. So allowing the breath to come all the way down to meet the hands. So developing this sincerity. Does that feel nice? If it does, I want you to smile. Now I've got my eyes open so I can see if you're smiling or not. Smile, damn it. You're making me look bad. Relax. Enjoy it. Good. If you're taking yourself seriously, please stop immediately. And just feel that that's actually quite nice. Okay, so now we're going to increase this nice feeling. So I want you to allow the breath, as you breathe through the nose, to become even more lovely. Okay, so what's lovely? What about melting butter? That's lovely. Or melting chocolate, even better. So imagine you're breathing in melting chocolate or melting butter. So make the breath absolutely delicious and lovely and completely indulge in what's happening. So as you breathe, you're breathing this lovely feeling into the nose. As it hits your nose, allow the nose to relax. Allow the face, the eyes, the cheeks to relax. And ask yourself, does that feel better? Can I feel the area around my cheeks and my eyes? Am I holding tension there? Can I find a feeling of opening as I breathe in? And as I breathe out, can I find a feeling of release? And if it feels nice, enjoy it. So we can hear the rain outside. It's releasing. There was a build-up of heat. There was tension. And now there's release. So this is natural. We're not trying to escape, so don't try and get into a deep state of meditation now. We're just bringing our attention to what's happening. So as you breathe out, make the breath like the rain. Feel the rain, how it's releasing. As you breathe out, have this feeling of release, a feeling of melting. All the way down through the throat and the tongue. As you breathe in, release the tongue. Opening up. As you breathe out, releasing. Am I holding tension in my tongue? Am I holding tension in my throat? Can I find openness there? Can I find release? And does that feel nice? Can I feel my chest? Am I holding tension in my chest? As I breathe in, can I feel this opening? As I breathe out, can I feel this releasing? And does that feel nice? Feeling the rib cage around the diaphragm. Same thing. Are you holding tension there? Breathe in, feel how the breath expands. Feel how the skin opens up. As you breathe out, finding that release there. And finding the tummy as well. So now we're breathing from the nose all the way down through the throat, the chest, down into the hands. And just feeling this whole area open up. And feeling this whole area release. And if it feels nice, enjoy it. Smile. So, you guys just keep doing that. I'm going to talk and stuff. So you have to ask yourself, like, why do you do anything in life? The only reason you do anything, the reason that you've come here tonight, the reason that you're going to go to work tomorrow, or go to the beach tomorrow, or whatever it is that you're going to do, is to find comfort, is to find openness, spaciousness, room to move. So as you breathe in, there it is. Job done. Well done. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Notice how nice that feels, this expansion. It's very natural. We do it all the time. As you breathe in, enjoy this expansion. This openness is the opposite of closed. It's the opposite of tension. Now, as you breathe out, focus on the feeling. Really focus on this, like it's a sigh. You don't have to make the sound, but it's the feeling. As you breathe out, it's release, right? And we do it all the time, but we don't pay attention to it. So start to build this sincerity. Give yourself credit. As you release, give yourself credit. Enjoy it. This is the other thing that we want in life. We want to release. We want release from the heat, so we turn the aircon on. The weather releases, starts to rain when the humidity builds up too much. So with every breath, we're finding openness and we're finding release. So we can use the breath to remind us. So enjoy it right now. So now just spreading your awareness a little bit more. So down into the hips and the bum. Allow your mindfulness to enter into this area and open up. So as you breathe in, opening up the hips, opening up, finding space, finding comfort. As you breathe out, finding release. If it feels at least 1% better, acknowledge that. And extrapolate. Blow it out. Let it fill your awareness. Let the good feeling fill up your awareness. We can't be open and closed at the same time. So feel the openness. And feel how the heart is open and released as well. So it's like a game, like Pokemon or something like this. So now we're trying to build our skill level. So we'll just spread this awareness. So see if you can feel your legs. Can I feel my legs? For some of you, they'll be numb, so you probably might not be able to feel your legs, but try. Can I feel my legs right now? Am I holding tension there? Can I find this openness as I breathe in? Can I find this release as I breathe out? And does that feel better? If it does, smile, damn it. I can see you. I've got my eyes open. So, starting to build this sincerity. If it feels good, acknowledge it. Smile. And you'll find that it amplifies the effect. As the effect is amplified, notice that. Enjoy that. Just keep riding that wave. Indulge. You have to remember that there's 10,000 things that are happening in your system right now. 10,000 things that are happening in your world. Your world is nothing more than your senses, right? Nothing more than the feelings, the sights, the sounds, the thoughts, tastes. So instead of focusing on one terrible thought pattern that happened 10 years ago or yesterday or today, or some fear that you can't stop thinking about the future, whatever it is, focus on this feeling. As you open up the back. See if you can find the back. As you breathe in, can you find openness in the back? See if you can feel all of the pores across the back opening up. It's almost like the back, on a hot day, like today, when you feel a nice cool breeze, the skin, it's like it opens up to the breeze, involuntarily. So in the same way as you breathe now, see if you can allow the back to open up to the breath. And indulge in that nice feeling. It feels nice. As you breathe out, release the tension in the back. Enjoy it. Smile. And so gradually in your own time, just allow your awareness to spread across the entire body. So you're cultivating this nice broad sense of awareness and openness. As you breathe in, opening the entire body. As you breathe out, releasing the entire body. And enjoy it. And so we can do this with any sense. We're just doing it right now with the sense of feeling, right? So we can do it with the sounds. So get a sense of your hearing. And I want you to try and find the edge of your hearing, the border of your hearing. Sort of impossible, right? Okay, so what about the center of your hearing? Where is the center of it? Or what about the shape of your hearing? And you also notice that the hearing it's really vast. It's sort of endless, right? Spacious. And the sounds come up and they exist for a little while and then they fall away within that spaciousness. So the reason that sounds hurt us is because we perceive them as being heavy or sharp, and they cut us. We can't see the spaciousness in them. So this is nature. We start to see nature. We start to see the spaciousness, and then words have less of an impact on us. The more that we can perceive this, the better we are. Because it's comfortable. It's why everyone here is wearing loose clothing. You're not wearing a suit. The more space we have, the more comfortable we are. It's why we go to a tropical island for a holiday. It's because it's spacious. We don't go to a subway tunnel full of people for a holiday. As you begin to open up the eyes, just allow your gaze to sort of, sit down or be cast down near your feet somewhere on the floor. And just notice the spaciousness in your vision as well. Because generally we don't notice that. We notice the objects within the space, but just seeing the spaciousness between the object and your eyes. And then gradually just allow your vision to widen, and you'll see and get a sense of this spaciousness increasing throughout the room. And so it's the same thing here. We learn how to see this spaciousness and things become more comfortable. So now just sort of coming back to reality or whatever, and having a look around the room. And I want you to, right now, look at someone in the room, and I want you to hold tension in your eyes as you look at them. Like really hold tension in your eyes and look at that person dramatically, like really, And then soften the muscles around your eyes. Allow the muscles and the nerves around your eyes to relax. And just notice how nice that feels. And notice how the perception changes as well. Now this is very interesting, right? So for instance, let's say I've read something about green shirts. Right? Personally, I hate green shirts. I think they're disgusting, and they really annoy the hell out of me. Green shirts suck. Right? They give me the shits. But anyway, so I've read about green shirts, but I'm trying to philosophize about green shirts, and I'm trying to talk myself into the fact that green shirts are actually alright because I read a book about it. Okay. And this is where philosophy falls short, because the perception comes in as too quick, right? So green shirts, hate green shirts. I'm already feeling this tension about you and green shirts, right? So instead of using philosophy, a really good technique is to soften a part of your body as you're looking at this thing that would normally piss you off. Now, the more skillful that you become, you're just doing it all the time, so things don't generally tend to piss you off because you're just always finding this sincerity, this release, this openness. This is something called metta, right? Loving kindness, universal love, right? So this is a nice way to develop it. It means that, or black shirts. God, I hate black shirts, right? So instead of hating black shirts or trying to philosophize about black shirts, all I do in the moment of seeing that goddamn black shirt, which I hate, I soften my tongue. Because in that moment of rage toward black shirts, I hate them. Blue shirts are alright. I like blue shirts. But black shirts, god damn it, I hate them. In that moment of rage, it's really difficult for me to philosophize about the niceness of black shirts. It's really difficult. So all I do in that moment of complete rage, because it's like a wall, all I do is I just soften my tongue. And because I've been practicing this a bit now, I find that release. And I go, oh, that feels nice. Now, try this. Try this with someone around the room now. Like, pick something about them that you wouldn't particularly like. Their shirt, for instance. Right? Try it. Try it right now. So, look at this. Was that an anchor? Yeah. What are you, a sailor? What the hell is that? You know what I mean? So pick something, right? Pick something about someone. Anything. Like something completely random and stupid, right? But this is what we do. This is why we don't like people. Like, look at that beard. What is that? What is that? What is this beard? What are you trying to prove, man? Like, and so this is what we do, though. We pick little things that just annoy us. Victory? What the hell? Yeah, fully, right? This is how we hate people, right? Oh God, So instead, right? So you look at this guy with his victory T-shirt on, right? And so instead of like trying to like philosophize about, oh no, he's actually probably a really nice guy, and I met someone before who was like really into victory, and they were pretty nice too. So I suppose it's not too bad, but it's just doesn't actually work very well, right? So instead, all I do is I look at you and I soften my tongue. Now, because my heart can only do one thing at a time, right? At that moment, because I'm softening my tongue, I'm giving it the credit that it deserves. It actually feels very nice. And then all of a sudden, it's like I'm almost in love with you, man. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, this is fantastic. God, you're a gorgeous man. I love that victory shirt, damn it. Right? And so it cuts through. There's no philosophy. When we try to philosophize and reason and all this sort of stuff, it works to a degree, but at the end of the day, it's just more thinking, right? Now, the interesting thing about thinking is that it's just tension. If you've ever thought about when you've had a headache, most of the time that you've had a headache, certainly for me, is because I can't stop thinking about something, right? Unless it's, from too much rum or something, right? But generally it's because I can't stop thinking. So if you're thinking is tension. So if you're trying to get rid of tension by thinking, you can see this spiral, right? It can lead to something better, but a lot of the time it doesn't. It just leads into this spiral, right? So the way to get through thinking is to not think. So to not think, what do? It's like when you piss. You don't need to think about it, right? You don't need to philosophize about the whole idea of going to the toilet. I've read a book that it's really good. You just do it. And instantly, and all your worries in that moment disappear. Right? And so this is it. It's direct, and it's really quite profound. Like when you get into the habit of it, and you can do it with any part of your body. So it can be your eyes. So if you soften your eyes as you're looking at someone, instantly, if you pay it the right attention, if you pay it the correct attention, and this is, you've heard of appropriate attention, right? So this is another level of appropriate attention. This is mudita, appreciative joy. Release, there it is. Awesome. And all of a sudden, you're awesome. All of a sudden, you're awesome, And so this is universal love. Right? So it's certainly something to practice. Very, very direct, and it cuts through the bullshit. Yeah. Any questions? Gotcha. Yeah, because there shouldn't be any questions. It's like super straightforward. It's the simplest thing ever. Basically, this is it, right? There's either tension and lack of tension. That's it. Only time you've ever felt like shit is because you've had tension. The only time that you've ever felt good is because there's been lack of tension. That's it. It's as simple as that. So, what is the opposite of tension? The opposite of tension is openness and release. How do you find openness and release? You create it. You do it. And you give it the credit that it deserves. You look like you're on drugs, it's true. What are you on, Andy? That's true. I get that a little bit, but that's okay. So it's emptiness. You've all heard of emptiness? Yeah, like if you've ever read a Buddhist book, they talk about emptiness, right? It's emptiness of tension. Because it blows out. It starts off here, but you let it spread. And it eventually envelops your whole consciousness. It's very cool. Yeah, exactly. And this is the result. Exactly. That's it. That's the result right there. Yeah, exactly. Gotcha, suckers. Yeah, so if you find yourself thinking, what does he actually mean by that? No, that's wrong. That's right. Soften your tongue. Soften your ass. Soften your cheeks. Whatever it is, whatever it takes. Now, the interesting thing is when you do anything, like try this. When you drive your car home or your bike home, try relaxing, try doing it. And you'll ride better, you'll drive better. When you're speaking to your partner, try doing it. When you're making out with your partner, try doing it. When you're eating your food, you'll digest it better. When you're getting rid of your food, you'll get rid of it better. The only reason you ever go to a doctor is because there's lack of openness in the body. There's swelling, so you take a tablet, gives the body space. The only reason you go to a doctor for mental problems is because there's lack of space. It gives you a pill. Valium, Xanax, Prozac, heroin. Spaciousness. Right? That's why we have wine. Have a glass of wine. Spaciousness. Openness. Release. But of course, those things it's limited. Very limited. Instead, you can do it yourself without all that stuff. You can still have a wine. Just got back from Europe, I had copious amounts of wine, but it's not something that you need. It's something that you can enjoy. One more thing. Is that all right? Okay, all right. All right, so here's a little exercise for you. Take a picture of something. Anything in the room here. Like a mental image. While I adjust my hair. You got it? Okay, close your eyes. Hold it there. Hold it. Don't let it go. Hold it. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. Hold it. Okay, so it wants to go, right? It wants to go. It wants to disappear. Now, can you feel the tension that's involved in that? The tension in holding that thing there. Can you feel it? It's almost like there's a little vice or something, or like a pressure on the side of your temples, holding the image there, right? Okay, so we can then say, all right, well, this leads to something very interesting, and we can then put, instead of, a picture of the tea cup or whatever we've taken the photo of, we can put anything in there. We can put a thought there, we can put an emotion there, we can put an ideology there, anything, right? We can say that if we hold on to that thing, this thing that actually wants to disappear, if we hold on to it, then there's tension. Right? So we can, it's like fill in the blank. It's like we can put, an image of Andy there, or whatever you took the photo of, the Buddha or whatever it is. And we hold that there, and there's tension, right? Because this thing is actually more like, a thought is like the sounds. The sounds don't stay. None of them do. Even the constant drone of the air conditioner, if you look at a sound graph, goes in waves like this. Sounds constant, but when you actually pay attention, there's heaps of space there. Between your ear, within the sound, it's all spacious. Right. So it wants to disappear, it doesn't stay. Now here's another one. Check this out. So take a photo again. Take a photo. This is the coolest. All right. So take a photo. Now close your eyes. Now hold on to the image. Now this time I want you to soften the muscles around your eyes as you look at the image in your mind. But soften your body as you look at it. And just like a microscope or a telescope or something, I want you to zoom in, and I want you to find the very center of this thing. I want you to find the pinpoint center, the molecular center. As you're softening, you have to soften. Soften your tongue, soften your eyes, zoom in. And of course it disappears, right? The object disappears. Did anyone not find that? If you didn't find it, zoom in closer and soften more. So, this is another interesting thing. Again, we can fill in the spaces here, right? So instead of the picture that you just took, whatever it was, you can put anything in there, and we can say, okay, well, what about an emotion? Okay, what about a feeling? What about a thought? What about an ideology? And if we look at it and we soften and we zoom in and we try to find the center of it, it will actually disappear. So this is interesting too. Okay. So again, we're seeing the reality. And so the whole thing tonight is basically being seen about seeing reality. And the reality is that open spaciousness is natural, and it's actually what we're after. Yeah, like when you buy a phone, generally you'll see on the screensaver like a picture of an open field, or like a mountain or something. It's because Microsoft or Apple or whoever put a lot of money into the research. These images make us happy. Just a little image. We see an open field and we go, and then release is the other thing that we're after, and that's course. We all want release. So openness and release, they're the two things that are the opposite of tension and discomfort. So if you can start changing your habit from focusing on the tension, just the tension without the release, start noticing where you're holding tension, start finding openness, start finding release. As you drink your tea, as you talk to your friends, soften your eyes, find that spaciousness. Notice when it feels good. Make this your habit as you're speaking to them, soften your voice. As you're listening to them, soften your ears. Notice this. Begin to feel this connection that you get with the person then. And the connection goes like straight to the core. It's like you're talking to like your best friend. Start investigating because it's really fun. It's awesome. So all those feelings of disconnection or anxiety or fear, they don't exist. They can't exist. It's impossible for them to exist because they're fabricated. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any observances?
Sorry, you talk about focus on something on the image, and but when we focus on a feeling inside the body, like anxiety or frustration, and if we focus on it, and then we zoom where it is in the body, inside.
Yeah.
We zoom very, very until very, very small. And what happens after we release it?
That's completely up to you, darling. That's completely up to you. And it depends on how you do it. So for instance, if I zoom like this, tension, right? Yeah, so I have to zoom like this. I have to soften and zoom at the same time. So it's all about, it's your intent, basically, right? So whatever your intent is, if your intent is finding the answer to the problems of the universe or whatever, then you're not going to do it, right? And this is the main problem that I see, certainly, you know, with a lot of people's meditation and stuff, is they go into it like serious business. And it is serious business, it's very serious, because this is actually everything. Like the only reason that you've ever cried, ever, is because of this. Right? And it's the only reason that everyone in this whole room has ever been upset or cried, has been because of this. And the whole world, right? So it's huge. And so that's actually a really nice way to develop compassion, is to understand that. Compassion is sort of the base for everything, really. Yeah, once you understand that the only reason that you've ever suffered is because you haven't seen openness and release, that's the only reason. Once you realize that, then this true compassion starts to build in the heart. And from that true compassion comes true metta, an expression of compassion, or love and kindness, right? And true mudita, or appreciative awareness, and also true equanimity, or upekkha. So developing this I think it's the most essential thing. So, you know, when you wake up in the morning, realize that and sort of let it go into the heart. And then when you look at it, instead of looking at it, you know, like with that tension, you'll look at the problem with this softness. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When we suffering from a problem, to release it, let it go is a very good way. But shall we do it also when we are so happy and when we
Definitely.
have happiness?
Yeah, for sure. So, good, bad, and ugly. Do it. It's actually easier to do it when things are good. So, A really cool example would be at a celebration. Right? So someone's celebration, it could be like an anniversary between two people, a marriage, or it might be a birthday or something, whatever. And there is one person in the group that is trying to make the happiness last, right? And that person ends up destroying the whole night. It could be through jealousy, or it could be through trying to control things, or whatever. But you see it happen all the time, And so, or even just like say in a relationship, right? So you get into a relationship and it's beautiful and everything's good and open. And when we first fall in love, right? We fall in love, and that's why people say falling in love is healthy, because it opens up the whole body. So when you relax, everything opens. All your organs open up and everything opens, right? People get rosy cheeks and all this when they're in love. It's weird, right? But then, of course, what happens is everything starts to close in, right? Because they're not seeing the reality of it, right? And they're trying now to control it. They want to keep it. So instead, if you're in a relationship, just practice opening up, softening around the edges of the feeling that you have toward this person or whatever. So it might just be a friendship. So instead of trying to control that friendship, just soften the edges of it, and you'll find that it's much nicer. So even with something nice, it might be a nice sunny day, relax to it, open it up, and it becomes better. If it's a cloudy, shitty day, and you soften and relax to it, it becomes better. It's win-win. Because when you open up, it's always better. Always. Like, never have you ever opened up and relaxed and released and felt bad, ever. Ever. Whenever you've put your bag down, like, squeeze your hand again. Do that one again. Squeeze it really hard, as hard as you can. Harder. Hold it there for like 10 years now. Right? And then as soon as you release it, it feels good. Right? Release it. Now do it again. Squeeze it again. And now release it again. Feels good. Now do it again. And there's no end to it. This is the other cool thing. It's completely sustainable. So you can sustain this release because it's only release. Everything else is unsustainable, right? So if you try to keep happy, like through like positive thinking and stuff like this, or reasoning, I'm a good meditator and Buddhist and whatever it is, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why people break down, is because they can't hold it continuously. It's impossible. And so by releasing, it's completely doable. So happy, it's not happiness, it's release. And that's what the joy is. It's the joy of, and that's what I was saying, like finding this sincerity and finding the joy. Because I'm not talking about happiness. Because happiness is like, the idea of happiness is like the opposite of sadness. Right? So happiness and sadness are on the same scale. Right? So we go from one end of the spectrum to the other and then back again. And this is the law of rhythm, right? And we go from one end to the other, up and back, right? And so we're talking about something beyond that. So beyond yin and yang, that's what we're talking about. This is release. Nibbana, right? Beyond yin and yang. And what's beyond yin and yang? This, right? I'll do it again. Oh, bloody hell. I really get into it. Have fun with it. And so, you feel anxiety coming up, just do that. Yeah. Like right now you're feeling good, so now open up even more. Smile even more. Release even more. It's not bad, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now try to feel like shit. Now, do it. Do it. Try to feel like an asshole. You're such an asshole, man. You and your white shirt. What sort of pants are they anyway? You know what I mean? So just soften and relax. Yeah. Any other questions or observations or anything? Okay, one more little pointer before I shut up. Don't get me started, hey. So one more little pointer is to get an app on your phone and an hourly timer or a chime, and set your chime, every hour. You can even get half-hour ones now as well. Every hour is good to start off with though, and so make sure the bell, every hour it rings, right? Make it a high-pitched bing sort of a sound, right? You download it for free, okay? And every hour, whatever you're doing, doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be driving the car, you could be having a chat, you could be eating a meal, you could be in the toilet, whatever it is. Whenever you hear the bing, consciously release. Consciously find openness. So if you can't find openness in that moment, it could be really stressful, soften your tongue. And then just follow that out, extrapolate on that. Soften the eyes. Because sometimes it's too much. You can't find the release, you can't find the openness, so soften your eyes, soften your tongue. And then try and maintain that. Keep doing it for as long as you can. It might be 10 seconds, it might be 10 minutes, right? But if you do that every hour, it becomes a habit. And then it tends to flow on, and then you just find yourself doing it, like every half hour, every 15 minutes, every minute, every 30 seconds, all the time. And that's like guys like these up here. That's what they've done. They've been able to turn it from, instead of once every hour, into like this constant, a constant stream of mindfulness of tension / release of tension through knowing reality, compassion. And that's what they've done. So that's the goal. And if you want to see the goal in action, I strongly encourage you, most of those guys that pass, like this fella here, I strongly encourage you to talk to, are you on the chat group now? Yeah. To talk to this fella or this fella as to how you can actually meet him. And I would strongly encourage you to go and meet someone who has mastered this skill, because he is awesome. And until you meet someone like him, oh yeah, it sounds alright. But then when you meet him and you know what he's doing, sort of, you have an idea of why he's so happy, then you're like, holy shit, that is cool. I want to do that, because he's the happiest thing I've ever met. He's like a massive light bulb. So if you can imagine, right, depression, darkness, closing in. When you release, openness, light. That's what it's like. Whoa, man, you're awesome. Continuously, all the time. He doesn't sleep much. He sleeps 2 hours a day. So you can do it with all sorts of things. You feel tiredness coming on in the body, because tiredness starts in the body. It's a feeling. Feelings are in the body. They're not in the mind, right? They're not in the knowing quality. So you feel it coming on, the tiredness, and then separate from it. See through it. See the openness in it. Release it. So so there's so many games you can play. It's all the big games. And instead of playing Pokemon's ridiculous. I was in Melbourne last week, sitting in a park, and I saw people playing Pokemon Go. That is the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. I can't believe it. So for the rest of the afternoon, I without even a hesitation, I played with my damn energy balls in that park. And I didn't feel weird at all. Because I know what other people do, and that's far more weird than playing with energy balls.
Now relax then.
I can't, dude, I cannot. Really crazy stuff. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? So as soon as you feel the tension, soften, relax. But what about? Whoops. Oops. It's like Austin Powers with Dr. Evil. When his son Scott, is like, trying to convince him of whatever, and he's like, shh. Yeah, but shh. I got a pocket full of shh. Shh. But that was a preemptive shh. But instead of shh and pushing it away, I want you to go find openness and release with everything. Every single thing that comes into the mind, do that. Everything that comes into your awareness, do that. Everything. And it makes it better. People have this fear of emptiness. This emptiness of tension is a good thing. It's not like a scary, ooh. It's not void. Emptiness of tension. And go and see this guy, because you actually need to practice this stuff, right? And you need to be around people that can do it, because otherwise you forget and you just get into like your normal sort of train of thought, and you just do what, because we just copy people around us. Like when you start hanging around people that play jazz, you start saying shit like, I dig it. You start saying stuff like that, I dig it. Yeah, man. Top cat. What? What did I just say? And so we tend to just, mimic those around us and sort of fall into those patterns. So make sure that you hang around people that can actually do this stuff, right? And that have a proper practice so that you can perpetuate this, because it's a skill, right? It's not like just this idea. You have to actually do it. So do Tai Chi, proper Tai Chi, not like, it's not, see this guy here. Proper Tai Chi, see this guy, meditate. But you have to do it. You have to train. All right, stop me please, turn that off. Thank you.